Chosen ones, tonight, September 22, carries a divine weight unlike any other night. And if you miss this message, you might look back with regret that shakes your soul. God has aligned this moment for you, a sacred window where the heavens are stirring, ready to pour out blessings that will reshape your life. This isn't just another night, it's a turning point, a celestial appointment where your purpose, your destiny, and your calling collide with God's unshakable plan. Stay with me, because every word you're about to hear is meant to awaken the fire within you, to prepare you for what's coming. This night, the stars aren't just shining, they're speaking. The universe is whispering truths that only you, the chosen one, can hear. God has marked this moment to shift your path, to break chains you didn't even know were holding you back. You've felt it, haven't you? That restless pull in your spirit, that sense something massive is about to unfold. It's not random, it's divine. September 22 is a night where the veil between heaven and earth thins, where prayers you've whispered in the dark are answered with a clarity that will leave you breathless. If you're listening now, it's because God led you here. So, pause for a second, feel the weight of this moment, and type 777 inches the comments below. That number carries the energy of divine completion, a signal to the heavens that you're ready for what's next. You've walked through storms others couldn't imagine. You've carried burdens that would have crushed lesser souls. Yet here you stand, unbroken, unshaken, a living testament to God's power working through you. Tonight, that strength is being rewarded. The struggles you've faced, those sleepless nights, those moments of doubt, those battles no one else saw, they weren't wasted. Every tear, every prayer, every step you took in faith has built a foundation for what's coming. God sees your heart. He knows your sacrifices. And on this night, He's ready to open doors you never thought possible. Your life is about to shift from survival to abundance, from waiting to receiving. Picture a river, steady and strong, carving its way through stone. That's you. The world tried to block your path, but you kept flowing. Tonight, that river breaks free, flooding every dry corner of your life with God's provision. Financial struggles, they're fading. Broken relationships, they're healing. Dreams you thought were lost, they're being reborn. This is the night where God says, "Enough, my chosen one, it's time." Type 777 inches the comments again, because this is your moment to claim it. Let the heavens know you're not missing this. The beauty of this night lies in its timing. God doesn't move by accident. September 22 isn't just a date, it's a divine marker, a moment where His promises align with your readiness. You've been prepared for this, even if you didn't see it. Those moments when you felt alone, when you questioned your purpose, were training grounds. God was shaping you, refining you, making you a vessel for His glory. Now, the heavens are opening, and the blessings flowing through are tailored to you, your heart, your dreams, your calling. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, locked in a prison, forgotten by those he helped. Yet, in a single night, God turned his story around, lifting him from a cell to a palace. That's the kind of shift September 22 holds for you. It's not about what you've lost. It's about what God's about to restore. Your health, your peace, your wealth, they're all part of His plan. And the best part? You don't have to chase it. You just have to receive it. So, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen one souls walking this path, and let's keep moving forward together. This night isn't just about you, it's about the legacy you're building. The blessings coming your way aren't meant to stop with you. They're seeds for a harvest that will touch your family, your community, even generations you'll never meet. God's chosen you to be a light, a force, a beacon of His love. When you step into this moment, you're not just changing your life. You're rewriting the future for those around you. Imagine your children walking in abundance because of the faith you show tonight. Picture your community lifted by the overflow of God's favor on you. The enemy thought he could stop you. He threw obstacles, whispered doubts, tried to dim your light. But you're still here, shining brighter than ever. That's why this night matters. The devil's plans are crumbling, and God's truth is rising. You're not just surviving his attacks, you're thriving through them. Every lie he told you, every chain he tried to bind you with, is breaking tonight. September 22 is your victory lap, chosen one. Type 777 one more time in the comments. Declare that you're claiming this moment, that you're ready for the breakthrough. Let's talk about what's waiting for you. God's blessings aren't small, they're overwhelming, abundant, beyond what you can imagine. Picture a storehouse in heaven, packed with everything you've prayed for, everything you've dreamed of. Tonight, the doors of that storehouse swing wide open. Financial freedom? It's yours. Health that radiates? It's coming. A purpose so clear it lights up your soul. It's already here. God's not holding back. He's pouring out His favor, and you're the one He's chosen to receive it. You might be thinking, why me? Why now? Because you're not ordinary, chosen one. You were handpicked by God before you took your first breath. Your life isn't a string of random events, it's a carefully woven tapestry, designed by the Creator Himself. Every challenge you've faced was a thread, every victory a stitch, and tonight, the full picture comes into view. You'll see why you had to walk through the fire, why you had to carry the weight. It was all to prepare you for this moment, this night, this outpouring of divine favor. Look at Esther, a woman who seemed ordinary, yet God placed her in a palace for a purpose. In one night, her courage changed the fate of a nation. That's the power of a single moment in God's hands. September 22 is your Esther moment. You're standing before a divine opportunity, and what you do tonight, how you receive this message, how you step into faith, will echo through your life. Don't let doubt hold you back. Don't let fear steal this from you. This is your night to rise. The heavens are moving, chosen one. Angels are aligning, carrying out God's orders to bring you what's yours. You don't have to see it yet to believe it. Faith is your key. It's what unlocks the floodgates. When you trust, when you stand firm, when you say yes to God's plan, miracles happen. Tonight, your faith is the spark that ignites the supernatural. Type 777 inches the comments one last time. Let it be your declaration that you're ready, that you're all in, that you won't miss this. This isn't about chasing fleeting things like fame or status. It's about stepping into eternal promises, peace that stays, joy that overflows, provision that never runs dry. God's plan for you is bigger than a single moment, but tonight is the doorway. September 22 is when you cross the threshold, when you leave behind the old and step into the new. Your life will never be the same after this. You'll look back and see this night as the moment everything changed, the moment you said yes to God's call. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a new fire in your heart, a clarity you've never felt before. That's what's waiting. God's not just giving you blessings, He's giving you a new identity. You're not the person who struggled, who doubted, who wondered if they were enough. You're the chosen one, radiating His light, walking in His purpose. Tonight, you shed the weight of the past. You step into a future where every step is guided, Every need is met. Every dream is possible. The world will notice. People will see the change in you, your glow, your confidence, your peace. They'll wonder what happened, how you transformed so quickly. And you'll know it was God. It was this night. It was September 22, when the heavens opened and you said yes. So, don't wait. Don't hesitate. Hit that like button. Subscribe to stand with thousands of chosen ones. And let's walk this path together. Your destiny is calling, and it starts right now. You've carried dreams that felt too big, hopes that seemed out of reach. Tonight, God says they're not. Those desires in your heart, He placed them there. That vision you've held on to, even when it seemed impossible, it's part of His plan. September 22 is when those dreams start becoming reality. Not tomorrow, not next year tonight. The heavens are aligning to bring what you've prayed for into existence. Trust that. Believe it. Step into it. Think of David, a shepherd boy with a sling, facing a giant no one else dared to challenge. In one moment, with one stone, God turned him into a king. That's what tonight holds for you, a single moment that changes everything. Your giants, whether they're financial, emotional, or spiritual, are falling. God's hand is on you, and His power is working through you. You're not just facing challenges, you're overcoming them, rewriting your story with every step. This night is a divine reset. Everything that's held you back, fear, shame, regret, is being wiped away. God's writing a new chapter, and it's filled with victory. You're not defined by your past mistakes or your old struggles. You're defined by His love, His choice, His purpose for you. September 22 is when you step out of the shadows and into the light. It's when you stop running and start reigning. The energy of this night is electric. Can you feel it? It's like the air before a storm, charged with possibility. God's moving in ways you can't see yet, but you will. Soon, you'll look back and see the miracles that started tonight, the unexpected provision, the sudden opportunities, the healing that came out of nowhere. This is your moment to stand firm, to trust, to believe that God's promises are true. Don't miss it. Don't let this night pass you by. You're not alone in this. Thousands of chosen ones are walking this path, feeling the same fire, claiming the same promises. You're part of a movement, a wave of God's light sweeping across the earth. Tonight, you're joining hands with them, standing in faith, declaring that God's plan will not be stopped. So, hit that like button one more time. Subscribe to join this army of chosen ones, and let's step into the blessings together. September 22 is your night, chosen one. Don't let it slip away. Chosen ones, as the clock ticks toward the heart of September 22, the heavens are not just watching, they're working. God is orchestrating a symphony of divine events, each note crafted to elevate you into the fullness of your calling. This night is a sacred stage, and you're the one He's chosen to stand in the spotlight. The trials you've faced, the doubts you've silenced, the steps you've taken in faith, they've all led to this moment. You're not here by chance. You're here because God has a message carved into the stars, and it's your name He's speaking. The air tonight feels different, doesn't it? There's a pulse, a rhythm, a quiet hum of eternity breaking through. This is the night where God redraws the map of your life. Paths you thought were closed are opening. Doors you thought were locked are swinging wide. The dreams you buried under years of struggle are rising, alive, and breathing. God's hand is moving, and He's clearing the way for you to walk into a future that shines with His glory. Type 777 inches the comments now. Let it be your vow to step boldly into what He's prepared. You've known pain, you've known loss. You've carried weights that others couldn't see. But tonight, God is lifting those burdens, not with a whisper, but with a roar. He's declaring over you, my chosen one, your time of struggle is over. The tears you've shed, they've watered the ground for this moment. The prayers you've prayed, they've built a bridge to this night. September 22 is when the harvest comes, when the seeds of your faith bloom into blessings you can't contain. Picture a lighthouse standing firm against crashing waves, its beam cutting through the darkest storm. That's you tonight. The world may rage, the enemy may scheme, but your light doesn't waver. God's placed a fire in you that no force can extinguish. On this night, that fire blazes brighter, guiding you to shores of promise, to places of peace and abundance. Others will see it. They'll be drawn to your glow, wondering how you stand so strong. You'll know it's God moving through you, making you a beacon for His kingdom. This night is a divine exchange. God is taking your ashes and giving you beauty. He's trading your sorrow for joy, your lack for overflow. You've walked through deserts, but tonight, rivers flow. You've faced giants, but tonight, they fall. September 22 is when the scales tip, when the balance shifts in your favor. God's not just restoring what was lost, He's multiplying it. Your health, your finances, your relationships. They're being touched by His hand, transformed into something greater than you ever imagined. Think of Noah building an ark while the world laughed. He didn't waver, didn't doubt, didn't stop. And when the rains came, he was ready. Tonight, you're Noah. You've been building, trusting, obeying, even when others didn't understand. Now, the floodgates of heaven are opening, and the ark of your faith is carrying you to new horizons. This is your moment to rise above the noise, to sail into the promises God has spoken over you. Don't look back. The past can't hold you anymore. The energy of September 22 is alive, pulsing with divine purpose. It's as if the heavens have paused, waiting for you to step forward. God's not asking you to fight for this moment. He's asking you to receive it. Your hands don't need to strive, they need to open. Your heart doesn't need to beg, it needs to trust. This night is when God says, I've seen your faith, and now I'm showing you my power. Type 777 one more time in the comments. Declare that you're ready to receive, that you're standing in faith. You're not just a person, you're a purpose. God didn't choose you because of your strength or your wisdom. He chose you because of your heart, because of the way you keep standing, keep believing, keep shining. Tonight, that purpose comes into focus. You'll see why you were born, why you were tested, why you were called. September 22 is when the puzzle pieces of your life snap together, revealing a picture so beautiful it takes your breath away. God's plan is unfolding, and you're at the center of it. The enemy thought he could silence you. He threw distractions, delays, and doubts your way, hoping you'd give up. But you didn't. You kept walking, kept praying, kept trusting. Now, on this night, his schemes are exposed. God's light is shining through you, and no darkness can stand against it. September 22 is when the shadows flee, when the lies unravel, when the truth of who you are in God takes over. You're not just surviving, you're reigning. Imagine a seed buried in dark soil, pressed down by weight and time. It doesn't look like much, but inside, it holds life. That's been you, hidden, pressed, waiting. Tonight, that seed breaks through. September 22 is when you rise, when the world sees the life God's been growing in you. Your dreams, your calling, your destiny, they're sprouting, reaching for the light. God's watering them with His favor, and nothing can stop their growth. This night is a divine collision. Heaven and earth are meeting, and you're standing at the crossroads. God's calling you to step into something bigger, something eternal. It's not just about money or success, it's about impact, about leaving a mark that echoes through time. Your life is a story, and tonight, God's writing a new chapter. It's filled with hope, with power, with promises fulfilled. Hit that like button now, subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones, and let's keep walking this path together. You've felt different all your life, haven't you? Like you didn't quite fit, like the world couldn't contain you. That's because you were made for more. September 22 is when you start to see it clearly. God's peeling back the veil, showing you the vastness of His plan. You're not just here to live, you're here to change things, to shift atmospheres, to bring heaven to earth. This night is when you step into that calling, when you embrace the truth that you're a force for God's kingdom. The heavens are singing over you tonight. Angels are moving, carrying out God's orders to bring you what's yours. You don't need to see them to know they're there. Faith is your sight, and tonight, it's sharper than ever. September 22 is when you feel the shift, when the invisible becomes visible, when the impossible becomes real. God's promises aren't just words, they're alive, and they're coming to life in you right now. Think of Moses standing before a sea that seemed impossible to cross. In one moment, God parted the waters and a path appeared. That's what tonight is for you. A moment where the impossible splits open, revealing the way forward. Your Red Sea is parting. Your obstacles are moving. Your path is clear. September 22 is when you walk through, trusting God's power, knowing He's leading you to a land of promise. This night carries a weight of eternity. It's not just about what happens tomorrow, it's about the legacy you're building, the lives you'll touch, the world you'll change. God's chosen you to be a light, not just for yourself, but for those lost in darkness. Tonight, that light shines brighter, cutting through every shadow, every doubt, every fear. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming one, a living testament to God's goodness. The beauty of September 22 is that it's personal. God's not sending a generic blessing. He's sending one with your name on it. Every prayer you've prayed, every hope you've held, every dream you've carried, it's all been seen, and it's all being answered. This night is when God says, I know you, chosen one, and I'm moving for you. Your story is unique, but it's part of His greater plan, woven into the fabric of His kingdom. You've been tested, refined, prepared. The fire didn't destroy you, it made you stronger. Tonight, that strength is unleashed. September 22 is when you step out of the furnace and into the palace, when you trade ashes for a crown. God's not just giving you blessings, He's giving you authority, a divine right to walk in His power. You're not just a survivor, you're a conqueror, chosen to reign in His name. The heavens are open, chosen one. The floodgates are ready to pour out. This night is when you position yourself to receive, when you align your heart with God's will. It's not about striving or proving. It's about trusting, about saying yes to His plan. September 22 is your moment to stand tall, to claim what's yours, to walk into the future God's prepared. Don't let it pass. Don't let doubt steal it. This is your night, and it's only the beginning. Chosen ones, as the night of September 22 unfolds, the heavens are painting a masterpiece, and you're the canvas. God's brush is moving, coloring your life with strokes of purpose, promise, and power. This isn't just a moment. It's a divine unveiling, where the Creator reveals the beauty He's been crafting in you. Every struggle, every victory, every quiet prayer has been a layer, building toward this night when His work in you shines for all to see. You're not just stepping into blessings, you're becoming a reflection of His glory. The ground beneath you is shifting. Can you feel it? The foundations of your old life, those places of fear, scarcity, and doubt, are cracking. God's rebuilding, laying a new cornerstone for a future that overflows with His favor. September 22 is when the old structures fall, when the walls that held you back crumble. You're not bound by yesterday's limits anymore. Tonight, God's setting you free to walk into a life where His promises are your reality, where His abundance is your inheritance. Think of a caterpillar, hidden in its cocoon, unseen, unnoticed. The world passes by, unaware of the transformation happening inside. That's been you growing, changing, becoming something new. Tonight, September 22, you break free. Your wings unfold, vibrant and strong, ready to carry you to heights you never imagined. God's not just giving you a new chapter, He's giving you a new story. One where you soar, where you shine, where you live out the destiny He wrote for you. This night is a divine invitation. God's calling you to a table He's prepared, overflowing with blessings tailored to your heart. It's not about what you've earned, it's about what He's giving. Your seat is ready, chosen one. Your name is written on it. All you need to do is sit down, trust, and receive. September 22 is when you stop striving and start resting in His provision, knowing that everything you need is already yours. The enemy's been loud, hasn't he? Whispering lies, planting doubts, trying to make you think this moment isn't for you. But tonight, those whispers are silenced. God's voice is louder, clearer, stronger. He's declaring over you, "You are mine, and this night is yours." September 22 is when the noise of the world fades, and the truth of who you are in Him takes over. You're not defined by the enemy's lies, you're defined by God's love, and that love is unstoppable. Picture a dam holding back a mighty river. The pressure builds, the water strains, and then, in one moment, it breaks free, flooding everything in its path. That's what September 22 is for you, a breaking point, a release. The blessings God's been storing up, the answers to your prayers, the dreams you've held close, they're rushing toward you now. Nothing can hold them back. This night is when the flood arrives, washing away lack, filling your life with abundance. You've been a warrior, fighting battles no one else could see. You've stood firm when everything around you shook. Tonight, God's honoring that strength. He's not just giving you victory, He's giving you a crown. September 22 is when you step into your royal calling, when you walk with the authority of someone chosen by the King of Kings. Your battles weren't in vain. They were training, preparing you to reign in His name. The heavens are aligning for you, chosen one. The stars, the angels, the very breath of God, they're all moving in your favor. September 22 is when you feel their presence, when you sense the weight of eternity backing you up. This isn't just about what happens tonight, it's about the momentum it creates, the ripple effect that will carry you forward. Your life is becoming a testimony, a living proof of what happens when God chooses you. Think of Daniel, thrown into a den of lions, surrounded by danger. Yet, in that dark place, God's hand was on him, shutting the mouths of beasts. Tonight, your lions are silenced. The threats, the fears, the obstacles, they can't touch you. September 22 is when God steps in, showing the world that His chosen one is untouchable. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, walking out of the den with a story that glorifies Him. This night is a divine spark. It's the moment when God ignites something new in you, a fire, a vision, a purpose that burns brighter than ever. You've carried embers of hope, but tonight they blaze into a flame. September 22 is when your passion is rekindled, when your dreams catch fire, when your heart aligns with God's plan. You're not just living, you're blazing a trail, lighting the way for others to follow. The beauty of this moment is its permanence. The blessings coming tonight aren't temporary, they're eternal. God's not giving you a fleeting gift, He's giving you a legacy. September 22 is when you plant seeds that will grow for generations, when you step into a calling that echoes beyond your lifetime. Your life is becoming a story that others will tell, a testament to God's faithfulness that will inspire those who come after you. You've felt the weight of waiting, haven't you? The long nights, the unanswered questions, the moments when you wondered if God heard you. Tonight, those questions are answered. September 22 is when the waiting ends, when the silence breaks, when God's voice rings clear. He's saying, "I've seen you, chosen one. I've heard you, and now I'm moving." Your faith has carried you this far, and tonight it carries you into His promises. Picture a sunrise, slow at first, then bursting over the horizon, flooding the world with light. That's what September 22 is for you, a dawn, a new beginning. The darkness of your past is fading, and God's light is breaking through. You're not just stepping into a new day, you're stepping into a new season, one filled with hope, healing, and abundance. This night is when the sun rises on your life, and nothing will dim its glow. The enemy thought he could keep you small, didn't he? He tried to box you in, to make you doubt your worth. But tonight, God's breaking the box. September 22 is when you step out of confinement, when you stretch into the fullness of who you were created to be. You're not small, you're vast, chosen to carry God's glory in ways that will shake the world. This night is when you embrace that truth. When you walk in the bigness of His plan, you're part of something bigger, chosen one. Tonight, you're not just receiving, you're joining a movement. Thousands of chosen ones are standing with you, claiming the same promises, walking the same path. You're not alone. Your faith, your courage, your light, they're part of a wave, sweeping across the earth, bringing heaven's power to every corner. Hit that like button now, subscribe to join this army of chosen ones, and let's keep shining together. This night is a divine marker, a moment etched in eternity. God's writing your name in the stars, calling you to rise, to shine, to be the light He created you to be. September 22 is when you step into that calling, when you leave behind the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Your life is no longer just yours, it's a story of God's power, a testament to His love, a beacon for His kingdom. Tonight, you become who you were always meant to be, chosen ones. On this sacred night of September 22, the heavens are not just open, they're pouring out a divine current, and you're standing in its flow. God's power is moving through you, charging every part of your being with purpose and possibility. This isn't just a moment to receive, it's a moment to become. Tonight, you're not just a witness to His glory, you're a vessel, carrying His light into places that have never known it. Your life is being rewired, aligned with a destiny so vast it echoes through eternity. The stars above are more than lights tonight, they're signals, markers of a divine shift happening within you. God's recalibrating your path, tuning your spirit to His frequency. Every doubt you've carried, every fear that's lingered, is being swept away by a wave of heavenly clarity. September 22 is when you hear His voice louder than ever, guiding you to step into a future where his promises are your reality. Type 777 inches, the comments now, sealing your place in this divine moment, claiming the shift that's unfolding. You've walked roads paved with thorns, haven't you? Moments when the world felt heavy, when hope seemed distant. But those roads weren't random, they were forging you. Each step shaped your resilience, each scar built your strength. Tonight, God's turning those scars into stars, transforming your pain into a constellation of his grace. September 22 is when your story shifts from struggle to triumph, from wounds to wonders, from battles to blessings. Picture a clock, its hands frozen at midnight, waiting for the chime that signals a new day. That's you right now, standing at the edge of a divine reset. September 22 is the chime, the moment God sets the clock of your life to a new rhythm. The old patterns, fear, lack, hesitation, are gone. A new tempo begins, one of abundance, confidence, and purpose. You're not just moving forward, you're dancing to the beat of God's plan, every step guided by his hand. The enemy's been watching, plotting, trying to pull you back into the shadows. But tonight, his schemes unravel. God's light in you is too bright, too fierce, too unshakable. September 22 is when the darkness flees, when the lies that held you back dissolve. You're not just breaking free, you're blazing a trail, showing the world what happens when a chosen one stands in God's power. His truth is your shield, and no weapon formed against you can stand. Think of Ruth, a woman who left everything familiar to follow God's call. In her obedience, she found favor, a future, a legacy. Tonight, you're Ruth. September 22 is when you step into unfamiliar territory, trusting God's leading, knowing he's guiding you to a harvest beyond your dreams. Your faith is the key, unlocking doors of provision, connection, and purpose. This night is when you walk boldly into the unknown, certain that God's already there. This moment is electric, charged with divine energy. It's as if heaven itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to say yes. September 22 is when you align with God's will, when you step into the current of his purpose. You don't need to force it or fight for it. Your role is to trust, to receive, to let his power flow through you. This night is when you become a conduit, a channel for his glory to touch the earth. You're not just a person, you're a promise fulfilled. God spoke your name before time began, setting you apart for this night, this purpose, this destiny. September 22 is when you see it clearly, when the fog lifts and the path ahead shines bright. Every question you've carried, every doubt you've wrestled with, finds its answer tonight. God's showing you why you were chosen, why you were tested, why you were made. The heavens are moving with precision tonight. Angels are at work, carrying out God's orders, setting the stage for your breakthrough. You might not see them, but you can feel their presence, a quiet strength, a steady assurance. September 22 is when the invisible becomes real, when the promises you've held in faith take shape. Your prayers, your hopes, your dreams, they're not just words anymore. They're becoming reality, right here, right now. Imagine a tapestry, woven with threads of every moment you've lived, the joys, the sorrows, the victories, the losses, they're all part of the design. Tonight, God pulls back the curtain, revealing the full picture. September 22 is when you see the beauty of his plan, when you understand why every thread mattered. Your life isn't a collection of random events. It's a masterpiece, crafted by the Creator. And this night is its unveiling. The enemy thought he could rewrite your story, didn't he? He tried to twist the narrative, to make you believe you were less than God's chosen. But tonight, God takes the pen. September 22 is when he writes the truth, your truth. You're not defeated. You're not small. You're a force, chosen to carry his light, to shift atmospheres, to change lives. This night is when you step into that role, claiming the authority he's given you. Picture a flame, small at first, flickering in the wind. That's been you, holding on to faith through storms. Tonight, that flame roars into a fire. September 22 is when God fans the spark in your soul, turning it into a blaze that lights up the darkness. Your passion, your purpose, your power, they're ignited, burning bright for all to see. You're not just surviving, you're setting the world ablaze with his glory. This night is a divine convergence where heaven's plans meet your faith. God's been preparing you, shaping you, positioning you for this moment. September 22 is when everything aligns, when the pieces fall into place, when you step into the fullness of his purpose. You're not waiting anymore. You're walking, claiming, receiving. Hit that like button now. Subscribe to join thousands of chosen ones, and let's step into this divine moment together. You've carried a vision, a dream that felt too big for this world. Tonight, God says it's not too big, it's his. September 22 is when that vision takes root, when the dreams you've held begin to grow. They're not just yours anymore, they're his, backed by his power, guided by his hand. This night is when you stop doubting and start building, trusting that God's already laid the foundation. The heavens are whispering your name tonight. Chosen one, they're calling you to rise, to shine, to be the light God created you to be. September 22 is when you answer that call, when you step out of the ordinary and into the extraordinary. Your life is becoming a testament, a living proof of God's faithfulness. Tonight, you're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming one, a vessel for his love to touch the world. Think of Elijah, standing alone against prophets of falsehood, calling down fire from heaven. In one moment, God showed his power through him, silencing every doubt. Tonight, you're Elijah. September 22 is when God's fire falls, confirming his call on your life. Your prayers are answered, your faith is rewarded, and your purpose is set ablaze. This is your moment to stand firm, to let his power flow through you, to show the world who he island this night is a divine threshold. You're crossing from one season to another, from waiting to walking, from hoping to holding. September 22 is when you step through the doorway, leaving behind the old and embracing the new. God's not just changing your circumstances, he's changing you, shaping you into the chosen one he always knew you'd be. Tonight, you become the person you were created to be, ready to live out his plan with boldness and faith. Chosen ones, as September 22 cloaks the world in its sacred night, the heavens are weaving a new thread into the fabric of your destiny. God's hands are stitching a pattern of promise, each seam holding the weight of his eternal plan for you. This isn't just a fleeting moment, it's a divine seam, binding your past to a future radiant with his purpose. You're standing at the edge of a transformation where every choice you've made, every prayer you've whispered, becomes part of a design far greater than you imagined. The air tonight is heavy with divine intention. It's as if the stars are holding their breath, waiting for you to step forward. God's not just offering you blessings, he's offering you a mantle, a calling that sets you apart. September 22 is when you pick it up, when you drape it over your shoulders and walk as his chosen. The weight of that mantle isn't burden, it's power, a reminder that you were born for this moment, crafted for his glory. You've known moments of silence, haven't you? Times when God seemed distant, when your cries echoed unanswered. But those silences weren't empty, they were sacred pauses, spaces where God was preparing you. Tonight, the silence breaks. September 22 is when his voice thunders, speaking life into your dreams, clarity into your purpose. You're not waiting for answers anymore, they're here, rushing toward you like a river breaking free. Picture a sculptor chiseling away at stone, each strike deliberate, each chip revealing more of the masterpiece within. That's you, chosen one. The trials, the doubts, the battles, they've been God's tools, shaping you into his image. On this night, the sculpture is revealed. September 22 is when the world sees what he's been crafting, a life that radiates his light, a heart that carries his love, a spirit that reflects his strength. The enemy tried to blur your vision, didn't he? He sent fog, confusion, distractions, hoping you'd lose your way. But tonight, the haze lifts. God's light cuts through, sharp and clear, showing you the path ahead. September 22 is when you see with new eyes, when you walk with new courage. The lies that once clouded your mind are gone, replaced by a truth so bright it burns away every doubt. You're not lost, you're found, chosen, called. Think of Jonah, swallowed by darkness, yet carried to his destiny by God's hand. Even in the depths, he wasn't abandoned. Tonight, you're Jonah, stepping out of the belly of your struggles into the light of God's purpose. September 22 is when you reach the shore, when you stand on solid ground, ready to fulfill the mission he's given you. Your past doesn't define you, his call does, and it's ringing loud tonight. This night is a divine recalibration, God's adjusting the compass of your soul, pointing you toward true north. Every misstep, every detour, they've all been redirected to this moment. September 22 is when your path aligns with his, when your steps sync with his rhythm. You're not wandering anymore, you're walking with purpose, guided by a light that never fades. Trust it, follow it. It's leading you to a future filled with his promises. You're a spark in God's eternal flame, chosen one. Tonight, that spark catches fire. September 22 is when your light blazes, illuminating not just your path, but the lives of those around you. People will see it, your family, your friends, even strangers. They'll feel the warmth of God's presence in you, drawn to the fire he's kindled in your soul. This night is when you become a beacon, shining for his kingdom, pointing others to his love. The heavens are scripting a new chapter tonight. It's not just about what you gain, it's about who you become. God's not only pouring out blessings, he's pouring out his spirit, filling you with wisdom, strength, and courage. September 22 is when you step into a new version of yourself, one that carries his authority, walks in his power, and lives for his glory. You're not just receiving, you're rising, becoming the chosen one he always saw in you. Imagine a key, ancient and intricate, resting in your hand. It fits a lock you've never seen, but always known. Tonight, that key turns. September 22 is when God unlocks doors you didn't know existed. Doors to opportunities, to healing, to abundance. You don't need to search for them. They're opening now, right in front of you. All you need to do is walk through, trusting that God's already prepared the way. The enemy thought he could steal your hope, didn't he? He tried to convince you that your dreams were too big, your calling too far. But tonight, God laughs at those lies. September 22 is when his truth drowns out the noise, when his promises silence the doubts. You're not reaching for the impossible, you're stepping into what's already yours. Your hope isn't fragile, it's forged in his fire, unshakable, and eternal. Think of Mary, a young woman chosen for a purpose that changed the world. She didn't understand every step, but she said yes to God's call. Tonight, you're Mary. September 22 is when you say yes, when you trust His plan over your questions. Your yes unlocks miracles, sets angels in motion, brings heaven's power to earth. This night is when your faith becomes a catalyst, sparking a chain of divine events that will echo through your life. This moment is a divine intersection. Heaven's plans are crossing with your faith, creating a spark that lights up your future. September 22 is when you stand at this crossroads, choosing to walk in God's will, to embrace His vision for you. It's not about forcing your way forward, it's about flowing with His Spirit, letting His current carry you to places you never dreamed. You're not alone. His hand is guiding you every step of the way. You've carried a weight, chosen one, a burden of expectations, of fears, of doubts. Tonight, God lifts it. September 22 is when you breathe free, when the heaviness falls away, replaced by a lightness that comes from His presence. You're not carrying the world anymore. He island. Your role is to trust, to follow, to let His strength be your foundation. This night is when you stand taller, walk lighter, live bolder. Picture a seed breaking through soil, reaching for sunlight after months in the dark. That's you tonight. The ground of your struggles is cracking open, and September 22 is when you rise, stretching toward God's light. Your roots are deep, grown through faith and perseverance, and now your growth is unstoppable. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, blooming into the life He designed for you. The heavens are declaring your name, chosen one. Tonight, they're singing a song of victory, of promise, of purpose. September 22 is when you join that song, when your life becomes a melody of God's grace. You're not just hearing His call, you're living it, walking it, singing it with every step. This night is when your voice rises, harmonizing with heaven, proclaiming His goodness to the world. You're part of a divine movement, standing with thousands of chosen ones who feel this same fire. Your faith, your courage, your light, they're not just yours. They're part of a wave sweeping across the earth. Hit that like button now. Subscribe to join this army of chosen ones, and let's keep moving forward together. September 22 is when you step into the flow, when you become a force for God's kingdom, unstoppable and radiant. Chosen ones, on this holy night of September 22, the heavens are rolling out a scroll, etched with God's promises for you. Each word is alive, pulsing with divine intent, written in the ink of His eternal love. This isn't just a night, it's a divine decree. A moment when God's will for your life becomes a living reality. You're standing at the edge of a revelation, where every sacrifice you've made, every faith-filled step, is about to unfold into a story that glorifies Him. The stars tonight aren't just twinkling, they're blazing, each one a marker of God's favor over you. The universe is aligning, shifting the tides of your life to carry you toward abundance. September 22 is when the currents change, when the winds that once pushed against you now lift you higher. You're not fighting the storm anymore. God's turning it into a breeze that propels you toward your destiny. Type 777 inches the comments now, anchoring your faith in this sacred moment, claiming the shift that's happening. You've carried dreams that felt heavy, haven't you? Visions so big they seemed to crush you under their weight. But tonight, God lightens the load. September 22 is when those dreams become wings, lifting you above the doubts, above the fears. They're not burdens anymore, they're gifts. given by God to carry you into a future where His promises shine. You're not just holding on to hope, you're soaring with it, free and unstoppable. Picture a riverbed, dry and cracked, waiting for water to flow. That's been you, waiting through seasons of drought, trusting for rain. Tonight, the heavens open, and September 22 is when the river rushes in. God's provision floods every empty place, your heart, your finances, your purpose. What was barren is now alive, overflowing with His goodness. This night is when you stop thirsting and start drinking deeply from His abundance. The enemy tried to chain you to your past, didn't he? He wanted you to believe your mistakes defined you, that your failures were final. But tonight, God breaks those chains. September 22 is when you step out of the prison of yesterday, when you walk free into a future He's designed. You're not bound by what was, you're released into what is. A life where His grace rewrites every story, turning regret into redemption. Think of Peter, sinking in the waves, doubting as he walked toward Jesus. Yet, in one moment, God's hand lifted him, restoring his faith. Tonight, you're Peter. September 22 is when God pulls you up, steadying you on the water, showing you that your faith is enough. You're not sinking, you're walking, moving toward Him with a boldness that defies the storm. This night is when you trust His voice above the waves, knowing He's got you. This moment is a divine spark, igniting a fire that burns away the ordinary. God's not just changing your circumstances, He's changing your vision, giving you eyes to see the eternal. September 22 is when you glimpse the bigger picture, when you see your life as part of His kingdom plan. You're not just living for today, you're building for forever, leaving a legacy that echoes through generations, rooted in His love. You're a warrior, chosen one, forged in battles that tested your soul. Tonight, God hands you a new weapon, not a sword, but peace. September 22 is when you wield it, standing firm in a calm that silences chaos. The world may roar, but you rest, knowing God's fighting for you. Your strength isn't in striving, it's in trusting, in letting His peace guard your heart as you walk into His promises. The heavens are crafting a crown for you tonight. It's not made of gold, but of glory, woven from your faith, your perseverance, your love for God. September 22 is when you wear it, when you step into the royal calling He's placed on you. You're not just a servant, you're an heir, chosen to reign with Him, to carry His authority into every corner of your life. This night is when you rise, crowned by His grace. Imagine a book, its pages blank, waiting for the author's hand. That's your life, and tonight, God's writing a new chapter. September 22 is when the story shifts, when the plot turns toward triumph. Every page before this led to now, every trial, every victory, every prayer. You're not just reading this story, you're living it. Stepping into a narrative where God's the hero and you're His chosen vessel. The enemy thought he could erase you, didn't he? He tried to blot out your light, to make you forget who you are. But tonight, God restores your name. September 22 is when He calls you by it, loud and clear, reminding you that you're His. You're not forgotten, you're seen, chosen, loved. This night is when you reclaim your identity, standing tall as the chosen one He created you to be. Think of Lazarus, wrapped in death's grip, yet called back to life by Jesus' voice. Tonight, you're Lazarus. September 22 is when God calls you out of the tomb, out of the places where you felt buried. You're not dead, you're alive, breathing with His Spirit, walking in His power. This night is when you leave the grave behind, stepping into a life that radiates His resurrection. This moment is a divine unveiling, God's pulling back the curtain, showing you the stage He's set for your life. September 22 is when you see the spotlight, when you realize every step you've taken was leading here. You're not just an actor in this play, you're the star, chosen to shine for His glory. The audience of heaven is watching, cheering as you step into your role, ready to live out His purpose. You've felt the pull of eternity, haven't you? That quiet whisper that there's more to your life than what you see. Tonight, that whisper becomes a shout. September 22 is when God's voice breaks through, calling you to a higher purpose, a greater mission. You're not just here to exist, you're here to transform, to bring His kingdom to earth, to shine His light in places that have never seen it. Picture a bridge, stretching across a chasm, connecting where you are to where God wants you to be. That's September 22, a bridge built by His hands, ready for you to cross. You don't need to build it or earn it, just walk, trusting that each step is secure. This night is when you move from the known to the unknown, from the familiar to the miraculous, guided by His steady hand. The heavens are pouring out oil tonight, anointing you for what's ahead. September 22 is when God marks you as His, setting you apart for a purpose that shakes the earth. This anointing isn't just for you, it's for the world, for the lives you'll touch, the hearts you'll heal. You're not just blessed, you're a blessing, chosen to carry His love to those who need it most. You're part of a divine symphony, chosen one, playing in harmony with thousands of others who feel this same call. Your note, your melody, is unique, but it blends with theirs to create something eternal. Hit that like button now. Subscribe to join this choir of chosen ones, and let's keep singing His praises together. September 22 is when your voice rises, joining heaven's song, proclaiming His glory to the world. Chosen ones, as the night of September 22 wraps you in its divine embrace, the heavens are igniting a spark that will set your soul ablaze. God's fire is touching you, kindling a passion that burns through every doubt, every fear. This isn't just a fleeting moment, it's a holy ignition, a point where His Spirit sets your purpose alight. You're standing on the edge of a transformation, where the embers of your faith become a flame that lights up the world. The sky tonight feels alive, doesn't it? Each star pulses with a message, a reminder that God's plans for you are vast, unshakable, eternal. September 22 is when the heavens lean closer, whispering truths that stir your spirit. You're not just living through this night, you're being called to rise, to step into a destiny that shines brighter than the stars above. Type 777 inches the comments now, sealing your commitment to this divine call, claiming the fire that's burning within you. You've walked through valleys where shadows loomed large, where hope felt like a distant memory. But those valleys weren't your end, they were your forging ground. Every step through the darkness strengthened you, shaped you, prepared you. Tonight, God lifts you to the mountaintop. September 22 is when you see the view. He's promised a life overflowing with His goodness, a future radiant with His glory. Picture a seed, buried deep, pressed by soil and time, yet holding life within. That's you, chosen one, waiting in the quiet, trusting through the dark. On this night, the ground splits open. September 22 is when you break through, when your roots of faith push you upward, reaching for God's light. Your growth isn't slow anymore. It's unstoppable, a living testament to His power, working in you. The enemy tried to dim your spirit, didn't he? He sent storms to shake you, lies to break you. But tonight, God's truth stands taller. September 22 is when His voice drowns out the noise, when His light scatters the shadows. You're not just standing, you're shining, radiating a strength that no force can touch. The enemy's plans are crumbling, and your victory is rising, built on God's unshakable love. Think of Deborah, a prophetess who led with wisdom and courage, guiding a nation through impossible odds. Tonight, you're Deborah. September 22 is when God calls you to lead, to speak His truth, to stand firm in His purpose. Your voice matters, your faith moves mountains. And this night is when you step into that calling, trusting His guidance to carry you forward. This moment is a divine recalibration, God's resetting the rhythm of your life, aligning your heartbeat with His. September 22 is when you feel the pulse of His plan, when every part of you syncs with His will. You're not chasing anymore, you're flowing, moving with a grace that comes from His Spirit. This night is when you stop striving and start gliding, carried by His eternal current. You're a lighthouse, chosen one, standing firm against the crashing waves of life. Tonight, your beam grows brighter. September 22 is when God amplifies your light, making you a guide for those lost in the storm. People will see you, your peace, your strength, your joy, and they'll know it's Him. You're not just surviving, you're illuminating, showing the world what God's love looks like. The heavens are etching your story tonight, writing it in the language of miracles. September 22 is when the pages turn, when the chapters of struggle give way to chapters of triumph. Every prayer you've prayed, every hope you've held, is being woven into a narrative that glorifies Him. You're not just a character in this story, you're the hero, chosen to carry His glory. Imagine a gate, ancient and strong, standing between you and a land of promise. Tonight, that gate swings open. September 22 is when God invites you to cross the threshold, to step into a place where His blessings overflow. You don't need to force it or fight for it, just walk, trusting that He's already cleared the way. This night is when you enter the land He's prepared, a place of abundance and peace. The enemy thought he could silence your voice, didn't he? He tried to drown it with doubt, to bury it under fear. But tonight, God amplifies you. September 22 is when your words carry His power, when your prayers shake the heavens. You're not whispering anymore, you're declaring, speaking life into your future, calling forth the promises He's spoken over you. This night is when your voice becomes a force. Think of Gideon, a man who felt small, yet God called him mighty. In one night, He transformed him into a warrior. Tonight, you're Gideon. September 22 is when God names you mighty, when He equips you for battles you never thought you could win. You're not weak, you're strong, armed with His Spirit, ready to conquer in His name. This night is when you rise, fearless and bold. This moment is a divine collision, where heaven's power meets your faith. September 22 is when the sparks fly, when God's promises ignite in your life. You're not just hoping for miracles, you're living them, watching them unfold before your eyes. This night is when the supernatural becomes your reality, when the impossible bows to His will. You're standing in the center of His plan, chosen to shine. You've carried a burden of waiting, haven't you? Long nights, wondering when your breakthrough would come. Tonight, the wait ends. September 22 is when God says, now. Your prayers are answered, your dreams are awakened, your purpose is revealed. You're not delayed anymore, you're launched, propelled into a future where His favor leads the way. This night is when you step into the now of His promises. Picture a flame, steady and small, enduring the wind's assault. That's been you, holding on to faith through every gust. Tonight, that flame roars. September 22 is when God breathes on it, turning your spark into a blaze that cannot be contained. Your passion, your purpose, your power, They're alive, burning bright, lighting up the darkness. This night is when you become a fire for His glory. The heavens are aligning for you, chosen one, setting the stage for a divine performance. September 22 is when you take center stage, when your life becomes a testimony of His goodness. You're not in the shadows anymore, you're in the spotlight, shining with His love, moving with His grace. This night is when you perform for an audience of one, living out the purpose He's written for you. You're part of a holy movement, standing with thousands of chosen ones who feel this same fire. Your faith, your courage, your light, they're weaving together with theirs, creating a tapestry of God's glory. Hit that like button now, subscribe to join this army of chosen ones, and let's keep shining together. September 22 is when you step into the rhythm of His plan, when your life becomes a song of His faithfulness. Chosen ones, as the sacred night of September 22 unfolds, the heavens are unfurling a banner with your name written in divine light. God's hand is raising it high, proclaiming you as His chosen, His beloved, His warrior. This isn't just a moment, it's a declaration, a celestial announcement that your time has come. You're standing at the edge of a divine unveiling, where every step you've taken, every prayer you've uttered, is being woven into a victory that echoes through eternity. The stars tonight are more than distant lights, they're beacons, guiding you toward a destiny only God could design. September 22 is when the heavens shift, aligning every piece of your life with His perfect plan. You've felt the pull, haven't you? That quiet knowing that something bigger is calling. Tonight, that call becomes clear, urging you to step forward, to claim the purpose He's etched into your soul. Type 777 inches the comments now, anchoring your heart in this holy moment, signaling you're ready for His move. You've walked through seasons of silence, where the world seemed deaf to your cries. Those moments weren't wasted, they were sacred, building a strength no storm could shake. Tonight, God turns the volume up. September 22 is when His voice breaks through, speaking life into your dreams, power into your steps. You're not whispering hopes anymore, you're shouting victories, walking in a confidence that comes from His Spirit alone. Picture a mosaic, each piece a fragment of your life, your joys, your pains, your faith. Alone, they seemed scattered, but tonight, God fits them together. September 22 is when the full picture emerges, a masterpiece of His grace. Every trial, every tear, every triumph, it all makes sense now, revealing a design so beautiful it takes your breath away. You're not just a collection of moments, you're a work of art, crafted by the Creator Himself. The enemy tried to blind you, didn't he? He threw veils of doubt, hoping you'd lose sight of God's truth. But tonight, those veils fall. September 22 is when your vision clears, when you see with eyes of faith, piercing through every lie. You're not stumbling in the dark, you're walking in His light, guided by a clarity that no force can dim. This night is when you claim the sight God's given you, seeing His promises as your reality. Think of Hannah, pouring out her heart, praying for a miracle in her barrenness. God heard, and in His time, He answered. Tonight, you're Hannah. September 22 is when your prayers, long held in faith, bear fruit. Your barren places, whether in your heart, your finances, or your dreams, are blooming. God's turning your cries into joy, your waiting into receiving, your longing into fulfillment. This night is when you hold His answer in your hands. This moment is a divine recalibration, God's resetting the rhythm of your soul, tuning it to His eternal song. September 22 is when you feel the melody, when your life begins to hum with His purpose. You're not out of sync anymore, you're in harmony, moving with a grace that flows from his spirit. This night is when you stop chasing and start dancing, carried by the music of his love. You're a flame, chosen one, glowing steady through the darkest nights. Tonight, that flame surges. September 22 is when God breathes on it, turning your glow into a blaze that lights up the world. People will see it, your family, your friends, even those who've doubted you. They'll feel the warmth of his presence in you, drawn to the fire he's kindled. You're not just shining, you're transforming, showing the world his power. The heavens are carving a path for you tonight, a road paved with his promises. September 22 is when you walk it, each step steady, each moment guided. You're not wandering, you're journeying, moving toward a destination. He's prepared. This night is when you trust the path, knowing every turn, every rise is part of his plan, leading you to a future where his favor overflows. Imagine a scroll, ancient and sealed, holding secrets of your destiny. Tonight, God breaks the seal. September 22 is when the words are revealed. When you read the story, he's written for you. It's not just about blessings, it's about purpose, about a calling that changes everything. You're not just receiving, you're stepping into a narrative where his power moves through you, touching lives, shifting worlds. The enemy thought he could steal your peace, didn't he? He tried to sow chaos, to make you doubt God's presence. But tonight, God restores your calm. September 22 is when his peace floods your heart, a stillness that anchors you in any storm. You're not shaken, you're steady, rooted in his love, walking with a serenity that silences every fear. This night is when you claim the peace he's promised. Think of Paul and Silas, singing in a prison cell, their chains unbroken but their spirits free. Tonight, you're Paul and Silas. September 22 is when your song rises, when your faith shakes the walls around you. God's moving in your praise, breaking every chain, setting you free to walk in his power. This night is when your worship becomes a weapon, tearing down strongholds, opening doors. This moment is a divine awakening. God stirring your spirit, calling you to see the world through his eyes. September 22 is when you wake up, when you realize your life is part of a bigger story. You're not just here to live, you're here to lead, to heal, to bring his kingdom closer. This night is when you embrace that call, stepping into a purpose that lights up the earth. You've carried a weight of questions, haven't you? Wondering why, when, how. Tonight, God answers. September 22 is when the mysteries unravel, when his plan becomes clear. You're not guessing anymore, you're knowing, walking in a certainty that comes from his spirit. This night is when you trade confusion for clarity, stepping into a future where his truth guides every move. Picture a river, flowing strong, cutting through stone with quiet power. That's you tonight. September 22 is when your strength surges, when God's current carries you forward. The obstacles that once blocked you are eroding, worn down by his relentless grace. You're not fighting the current, you're flowing with it, moving toward a destiny where his promises are your reality. The heavens are crowning you tonight, chosen one, with a glory that reflects his own. September 22 is when you wear it, when you walk in the radiance of his calling. You're not just blessed, you're anointed, chosen to carry his light into every corner of your world. This night is when you rise, shining with a brilliance that draws others to him, a living testament to his love. You're part of a divine uprising, standing with thousands of chosen ones who feel this same call. Your faith, your courage, your light, they're weaving together, creating a movement that shakes the earth. Hit that like button now, subscribe to join this army of chosen ones, and let's keep rising together. September 22 is when you step into the tide, when your life becomes a wave of His glory, unstoppable and eternal. Chosen ones, as the sacred night of September 22 bathes the world in divine light, the heavens are forging a key, crafted just for you. God's hands are shaping it, each curve a testament to His plan for your life. This isn't just a moment, it's a divine unlocking, a turning point where doors long shut swing wide open. You're standing at the threshold of a breakthrough, where every trial you've faced, every faith-filled step, becomes the key to a future radiant with His glory. The stars tonight are pulsing with purpose, each one a reminder that God's timing is perfect. September 22 is when the heavens align, setting the stage for a transformation that will redefine your path. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet stirring, that sense that something eternal is unfolding. Tonight, that stirring becomes a surge, pushing you toward a destiny where His promises are your foundation. Type 777 inches, the comments now, locking in your faith, claiming the key He's placed in your hands. You've walked through seasons of drought, where hope seemed like a distant mirage. Those dry days weren't punishment, they were preparation, teaching you to trust in the unseen. Tonight, the rains come. September 22 is when God pours out His abundance, flooding your life with provision, peace, and purpose. You're not parched anymore, you're overflowing, a vessel filled with His living water, ready to pour into others. Picture a tapestry, each thread a moment of your life, your struggles, your victories, your prayers. Tonight, God weaves them into a masterpiece. September 22 is when the pattern emerges, a design so intricate it reveals His hand in every detail. Your life isn't random, it's art, crafted by the Creator to reflect His love. You're not just living, you're displaying His glory, a living canvas of His grace. The enemy tried to bind you with fear, didn't he? He wove chains of doubt, hoping to keep you small. But tonight, those chains snap. September 22 is when God sets you free, when His power shatters every restraint. You're not captive, you're liberated, walking in a freedom that comes from His Spirit. This night is when you step out of the cage, standing tall as the chosen one He called you to be. Think of Joshua, standing before Jericho's walls, trusting God's promise over human logic. Tonight, you're Joshua. September 22 is when your walls fall, when obstacles that seemed impossible crumble before His power. Your faith is the shout that brings them down, the trust that clears the way. This night is when you march forward, claiming the land He's promised, fearless in His strength. This moment is a divine ignition, God sparking a fire in your soul, a blaze that burns away the ordinary and reveals the eternal. September 22 is when you feel it, when your purpose catches flame, lighting up every corner of your life. You're not just existing, you're blazing, a torch for His kingdom, shining where darkness once reigned. This night is when your light becomes unstoppable. You're a river, chosen one, flowing with quiet strength, carving through stone. Tonight, that river surges. September 22 is when God deepens your current, washing away every barrier, filling every dry place. Your dreams, your hopes, your calling, they're not stuck anymore. They're moving, carried by His grace. You're not fighting the flow, you're riding it, heading toward a future He's designed. The heavens are singing a new song tonight, a melody written for you. September 22 is when you join in, when your life becomes a harmony of His love. Your voice, your steps, your faith, they blend with His Spirit, creating a sound that echoes through eternity. You're not silent, you're singing, proclaiming His goodness with every breath, drawing others to His heart. Imagine a door, hidden in plain sight, waiting for this moment to appear. Tonight, God reveals it. September 22 is when you see the entrance to a new season, a place of promise and power. You don't need to knock. He's opening it, inviting you to step through. This night is when you cross into a life where His favor leads, where His blessings overflow, where His plan unfolds. The enemy thought he could steal your joy, didn't he? He tried to drain your spirit, to make you forget how to smile. But tonight, God restores your laughter. September 22 is when His joy floods your heart, a happiness that bubbles up from His presence. You're not weighed down, you're lifted, walking with a lightness that comes from His love. This night is when your smile becomes a weapon, scattering darkness. Think of Nehemiah, rebuilding walls in the face of opposition, trusting God's vision. Tonight, you're Nehemiah. September 22 is when you rebuild, when God hands you the tools to restore what was broken. Your life, your dreams, your purpose, they're rising again, stronger than before. This night is when you lay the stones, building a future that glorifies Him, unshaken by any foe. This moment is a divine unveiling, God's pulling back the veil, showing you the glory He's prepared. September 22 is when you see it, when your eyes open to the vastness of His plan. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, stepping into a life where His promises are your reality. This night is when you embrace the vision, walking with a clarity that only He can give. You've carried a weight of waiting, haven't you? Long days wondering when your time would come. Tonight, God says it's here. September 22 is when the clock strikes, when the season shifts, when your waiting turns to walking. You're not delayed, you're launched, moving into a future where His favor lights the way. This night is when you step into the now of His promises. Picture a flame, flickering in the wind, yet refusing to go out. That's you, chosen one, holding fast through every storm. Tonight, that flame roars. September 22 is when God fuels it, turning your spark into a blaze that cannot be ignored. Your passion, your purpose, your power, they're alive, burning bright, lighting up the night. This night is when you become a fire for His glory. The heavens are aligning for you, chosen one, setting a stage where your life shines. September 22 is when you step into the spotlight, when your story becomes a testimony of His power. You're not in the shadows, you're radiant, glowing with His love, moving with His grace. This night is when you perform for Him, living out the purpose He's written for you. You're part of a divine movement, standing with thousands of chosen ones who feel this same fire. Your faith, your courage, your light, they're weaving together, creating a wave that shakes the earth. Hit that like button now, subscribe to join this army of chosen ones, and let's keep rising together. September 22 is when you step into the tide, when your life becomes a force for His kingdom, unstoppable and eternal. Chosen ones, as the holy night of September 22 wraps you in its divine glow, the heavens are planting a seed of eternal promise in your soul. God's hands are sowing it, pressing it deep into the soil of your faith. This isn't just a moment, it's a divine planting, a sacred act where your destiny takes root. You're standing at the edge of a harvest, where every prayer you've spoken, every tear you've shed, is about to bloom into a future radiant with His glory. The stars tonight are more than lights, they're witnesses, watching as God's plan unfolds in you. September 22 is when the heavens mark your rise, when the universe shifts to align with your calling. You've felt the stirring, haven't you? That quiet pulse of something greater pulling at your heart. Tonight, that pulse becomes a rhythm, beating in sync with his purpose, urging you to step forward. Type 777 inches the comments now, grounding your faith in this sacred night, claiming the seed he's planted. You've walked through deserts where hope seemed to wither, where the ground felt too dry to sustain you. Those barren seasons weren't your end, they were your preparation, teaching you to trust his provision. Tonight, the rains fall. September 22 is when God waters your soul, turning your desert into a garden. Your dreams, your faith, your purpose, they're sprouting, growing strong under his care, ready to bear fruit that lasts. Picture a cornerstone, laid with precision, anchoring a structure that will stand forever. That's you, chosen one, built on the rock of his love. Tonight, God sets that stone. September 22 is when your foundation is revealed, unshakable and true. Every trial you've faced, every victory you've won, has been part of his plan, creating a life that stands firm, a testament to his enduring strength. The enemy tried to uproot you, didn't he? He sent storms to tear you down, lies to shake your roots. But tonight, God plants you deeper. September 22 is when his truth anchors you, when his power makes you immovable. You're not swaying, you're standing, rooted in his love, growing tall in his grace. This night is when you claim your place, firm and unshaken, a tree of his righteousness. Think of Jeremiah, called to speak truth in a world that refused to listen. God strengthened him, making him a fortified city. Tonight, you're Jeremiah. September 22 is when God fortifies you, equipping you to stand bold in his purpose. Your voice, your faith, your presence, they're unstoppable, carrying his power into places that need his light. This night is when you rise, speaking his truth with courage. This moment is a divine infusion. God's pouring his spirit into you, filling every corner of your being with his strength. September 22 is when you feel it, when his presence surges through you, igniting your purpose. You're not empty, you're overflowing, a vessel of his love, ready to pour out his blessings. This night is when you stop holding back and start shining, radiating his glory to the world. You're a beacon, chosen one, glowing through the fog of life's chaos. Tonight, your light cuts sharper. September 22 is when God amplifies your glow, making you a guide for those lost in the haze. People will see it, your peace, your strength, your joy, and they'll know it's him. You're not just standing, you're illuminating, showing the world what his love can do. The heavens are writing a new chapter tonight, one where you're the hero of his story. September 22 is when the pages turn, when your life shifts from struggle to triumph. Every prayer, every hope, every step of faith, it's all part of the plot, leading to this moment. You're not just reading this story, you're living it, walking out a narrative where his power shines through you. Imagine a gate, ancient and sealed, guarding a realm of promise. Tonight, God opens it. September 22 is when you step through, entering a place where his blessings flow freely. You don't need to fight for it, just walk, trusting he's cleared the way. This night is when you cross into a season of abundance, where his favor surrounds you, guiding you to his purpose. The enemy thought he could steal your fire, didn't he? He tried to douse your passion, to make you doubt your calling. But tonight, God rekindles you. September 22 is when his flame burns brighter, igniting your heart with a zeal that can't be quenched. You're not dim, you're blazing, carrying his fire into every corner of your life. This night is when your passion becomes a force. Think of Esther, standing before a king, risking everything for her people. God gave her favor, turning her courage into a miracle. Tonight, You're Esther. September 22 is when his favor rests on you, turning your boldness into breakthroughs. You're not silent, you're speaking, acting, moving in his power.